What's up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers third party review. That's one, two, three. Yeah, third party. That's the one. And today, the figure that we're going to be reviewing is the Fanstoys Goose. Goose! Of course, Goose is a reference to the character Goose from the movie Top Gun. And he died partway through that movie, so hopefully this doesn't die partway through the review. But anyhow, so this is Fanstoys' take on Skydive, one of the aerial bots team, and I gotta be honest with you, in a lot of ways this is very Fanstoys, but in some ways it really kind of isn't. It's kind of an interesting figure, and it's kind of difficult to put my finger on. Okay, well, in that aspect it is easy, but it's kind of difficult to put my finger on what about it is strange, because it almost, I guess really the consternation comes from this. You've got this big backpack with all these things, all these parts just like chunked on here. And this is very, very strange for Fanstoys. Fanstoys is super keen on having the alt mode looks perfect and the robot mode looks perfect, and the transformation is a complete pain in the ass. And that's usually how it goes. Whereas with this guy, the alt mode looks really good. The robot mode looks great from the front, but it's got this like big old backpack conglomeration here. And the transformation is actually, I would even go so far as to say it's easy. It's almost strange how not a pain in the ass the transformation is. So, but as a result, it's got this thing going on. So I don't know exactly what all the story with that is, but let's get into the review, I guess. In terms of accessories, he only comes with about 3 accessories. He has 2 of these guns here. I have plugged that handle into a thing, and it doesn't want to come out. Maybe the other one. There's a peg. I wasn't prepared for this. I hadn't done it before. Oh my gosh. I'll just kind of spudge that out. There we go. There's a peg here and a hole right here, and so you can actually fold this up and peg it in, and that pegs in much more securely than I had anticipated. But yeah, and then there's a little peg down here. I think that'll go onto the to the jet mode somewhere, but I'm not actually 100% certain. This is on loan to me from my buddy Matt, and he didn't loan me instructions because he knows how he knows that I don't generally use them anyhow. So I guess it's all my fault for not knowing where these things might go in the alt mode. But in the robot mode, I know exactly where they go. Right into this slot on his hand. Curl his fingers around. And there's a pew pew right there. And then we can do the same for the other side. It helps to kind of angle his thumb down a little bit, so that it's not in the way. Plug that in, curl his fingers around, put the thumb back. So there, he's got some pew-pews. He can pew-pew things. And, yeah. They look kind of nice, actually. And then the other accessory he comes with is an alternate face where he is making a yelling face. And I'm not going to pull this out because that's not my figure. But you can disconnect it by just kind of lift his head up and get your finger underneath his chin. Maybe a spatula of some sort. And that just pops right out. There's just a simple tab that keeps that in place, and then the other one would tab back on. And so I've always been more of a stoic expression guy for my Transformers, so I'm just gonna keep it like that. I do want to do a comparison because, as some of you at least may know, I do have the Zeta aerial bots because that's the one that I actually bought and completed. And let's take a look at them side by side. Now, I will point out that this guy is done up all in metallic paint. The gray is metallic, the red is metallic, on his face is metallic. Even this black is metallic. It's a metallic black. And as a result, this figure looks very premium. I don't have the gift set, the Superatron or whatever they called it, where basically they took all of these figures and they did them up in a metallic paint job and snazzier. I don't know. So I can't compare how that would look compared to this, but I will say, in terms of look, I mean, yeah, this figure is a higher quality figure, and yes, it shows. Um, I am going to reserve my final judgment until I actually get it into a combined mode, because that's really what we're going for with a combiner team, right? And and also this figure costs like what, 3 times as much as this one did. So your results may vary. For me, I still enjoy this and will still be keeping this on my shelf. Um, but that's my personal decision there. We're gonna throw him back aside. And let's get this guy. Let's talk about his posability for a second. Let's get these out of his hands. Let go. So his head is on a ball joint. He'll look up. Actually, no, that's not on a ball joint. It's just a double hinge or a universal or whatever you want to call it. His head looks up, it looks down, and it rotates just fine. His arms are on a ratchet that goes around. Oof. And when you get into the upper parts of that arm where it doesn't get used hardly, the ratchet becomes extremely robust. But these... Oh, shit. All right. Well, that was back in April. That was back in April. It is now September. In that time, what's happened? I've gotten a new phone. Uh, I've gotten a new background. Uh, I got, the world has been locked in their homes for the past ungodly number of months. But yeah, back on it. It took a really long time for the replacement screw to come in because the COVID struck, and Fanstoys shut down basically for a long ass time, and so they didn't have anybody to give out replacement parts, including replacement screws. So yeah, this guy has been sitting armless on my shelf which was, first time I've had a Fanstoys gracing my shelf for any period of time, really. For freaking 6 months, has it been? No. 5 months, though. Yeah. So I am now like before. I started reviewing this guy when he was a new figure, and now like everybody has reviewed him except me. So like, here we go, continuing on. His head moves up and down and turns all around. His arm, uh, yeah, rotates just fine now. I tightened that screw myself. It is properly tensioned to perfection. Arm goes out for the full T-pose, bicep swivel, single bend at the elbow, wrist swivel, thumb is on a ball joint. Each finger has got 2 joints, one at the knuckle and one on the middle of the finger. He's got a waist joint which clicks nicely. Doesn't go both ways? It does. It should. I'll be honest with you guys. It's been like freaking 4 months since I've handled this figure. I don't remember what anything on it does. Looks like his waist will go one way. This little flap prevents it from going the other way, so it will not move the other way. But he can move one way. He can be like, what? But if somebody's on his other side, he can be like, eh. He's got little skirt armors here that move out of the way. Leg goes that far forward. If I break this again, by the way, I'm going to be super pissed. I will point out, once again, in all of my years of reviewing figures, the only figures I've ever broken have been Fanstoys figures. I broke this guy's arm clean off. I broke a peg on the Fanstoys Springer, and I broke... Who else did I break? I know I've broken a few tabs, and I've jacked up the paint on, like, not majorly jacked up, but I've jacked up the paint on a few of the Fanstoys figures. And it's like literally Fanstoys figures are the only ones that I've had this kind of luck with, because everybody talks about how high quality they are, but really they're not. They're just kind of, you know, they have a big name, but they're really kind of middle of the road in a lot of respects. Leg goes back that far, goes out for 100% Van Damme. Knee bends 90 degrees, especially if you tilt it forward a little bit so that this little flap doesn't get in the way of this little flap and whatnot. So that's decent. That's acceptable. You get plenty of ankle tilt and toe wiggles and the heel wiggles. And that is the posability on this guy. You know, I started off this review being like, Goose, and then saying that Goose is the character that dies partway through Top Gun. By the way, freaking Top Gun Maverick never came out. I'm really pissed about that. I was looking forward to that movie. Anyhow, sure enough, partway through this review, freaking Goose died. And I'm like, Goose! This whole review cracks me up. Guys, leave a like if you think that this is the most ridiculous thing ever. Freaking review 5 months in the making. Anyhow, so to get this guy transformed up, what we're going to do is we're going to pop open his head. I'm trying to remember all of this from months ago because I haven't transformed it or really touched it much since, because I didn't want to make it worse. Crack this bad boy open. Oh, wait. Tabs on the sides here. These little panels open up. Open. So now what we're going to do is, this transformation is almost exactly similar in terms of arms and legs with, what's his name? Iceman? And I think I may have mentioned that when I did the review for Iceman, but I certainly can mention it again. Then you slide that up. There is a divot right here in his forearm, and that's going to slide onto this tab right here. So it will all need to be properly lined up. Take his thumb, fold it down, fold the fingers thusly, open up this panel here, fold it around, and close that. And that is one arm all done. Let's do the other arm real quick before I get too excited about all this. When you transform this, you do need to have this arm be basically completely down so that, you know, because if you have this arm up a bit, none of this part will seat properly. It needs to be straight. And that's good. This slides up. Put the thumb in. Fingers. Open this bad boy down here. Rotate. Peg. All right, so these are going to come in. This is going to slide out and then finish its rotation inwards. So come around, slide out, finish its rotation. The arms are in their home. This will close up. These will peg back down. Now, for the legs. What we're going to do with the legs is we're going to pull these out and around like so. Heel goes in, toe goes over. Heel goes in, toe goes over. With this out like this, we can then crack open the seam right here. Oh, actually, this part was down like that. I still want that to be up, so I guess I'll get to that later on the other leg. This is going to come out, combiner wars around, and then it will kind of peg in. I'm missing a step. It just has to clip over. All right, so yeah, I figured it out. There's a tab in here. And then when you come around, you may notice there's a slot right here, the side where the pin, this little side of the divot on that peg has to go into that divot. And then you can close this up just fine. And then you can fold this out. In fact, I'm going to fold that down too. So, again with the other side, you want to open up this panel here. Combiner wars this in. Come on. What the F? There we go. All right, close up that panel there. Bring this out, down, around, peg these together. And then we get into the backpack. Jeez, this thing is bugging my elbow. Oh. What's bugging my elbow is I've got Megatron's tiny little face stuck to my elbow. That's what was bugging it. All right, so you want to take these and you want to fold them out. The use of this little space in here is actually really clever on this transformation, I thought. Bring this up and out, and then just kind of untab the part in here. You'll see there's a tab right here. You want to unpeg that and unpeg that and free all this up. And then that'll allow you to unpeg this from that side and free all this up. And now this can go over. You can turn his head around. And I kind of feel like that's supposed to just slide right in, but maybe I'll have to coerce it a little bit. Yeah, I may need to coerce it a little bit, which involves opening this up. Opening this up. Opening this up. There we go. Opening that up. Bringing this in. there are these little tabs right here are going to fit into these divots right here. So you just kind of line that up and send it home. Close this around his noggin, and then make sure this is fully depressed, and then basically tab, actually these tabs are not the important ones. This tab and that slot, this slot and that tab are gonna go together like so. And that's that so far. Then this part here folds out. This closes that. You are going to extend these parts up fully and kind of tease them together. I feel like I'm missing something, but maybe not. Like I said, it's been freaking ever since I've transformed this guy, and I haven't even thought about him in a while either. But basically, you're going to get these panels to go together, and then you're going to lower them onto this section so that this fits into that little divot all over again. This is going to come up. You're going to slide this peg into that tab right there, like so. And again with the other side, like so. This guy is going to come, this tab is now going to go into that slot, which is brand spanking new. That'll peg in, that'll peg in, that will peg in, that will peg in. And there he is in his vehicle mode. And like I said, this guy is actually surprisingly, blissfully, wonderfully easy to transform. I don't recall the last time I've handled a Fanstoys figure that was this easy to transform. It's absolutely amazing, actually. And he looks pretty decent too. You know, I mean, he looks decent from this angle. He does not look decent from this angle. There's a whole lot of robot body under here that would not be underneath the jet body. The F-16 is actually a very, very sleek. Like, this scoop on the front is basically sticks out most on the whole toy. But yeah, looks good. You can open up his cockpit. In fact, actually, this is an important step of getting his landing gear out. Do I have to? To get his landing gear out, you have to split this all apart. And let me see if I can wiggle it out past. Yeah, so you have to like bring up this console here, bring up the seat, push out the landing gear all the way down, bring this back together. This will then close around the front landing gear. Put the seat back in place, put the console back in place, put the canopy back in place. Then you come around here to the back. You got to do these one at a time because you can't open up both of these kneecaps at the same time. And there's his landing gear. He lands. He rolls as flying things should. Sorry, Amigo. It was too good of an opportunity to not steal. These will tab in right here underneath the wings. Whoa. Rather, that is where they're supposed to tab in. But you know what? They don't want to fit, and I am not going to force them. I am absolutely not going to force them. This figure,
I'm going to turn him back into his robot mode, and I'm going to send it back to my friend, and I'll be like, I don't want to ever touch this motherfucker ever again. Though I will when it comes time to combine them, actually. So there is that. But anyhow, it's a decent figure. I've given my thoughts on this combiner. I think that these figures look great as individual figures. If you want to have a set for display and a set for combined mode, I definitely recommend getting the Zeta Toys Supertron as your combined mode, because it's not going to look a whole lot. It's going to look very similar to the Fanstoys combined mode, and it's going to weigh like a third as much or less. It's going to be very light compared to the combined Fanstoys one, which is going to be heavy enough that it's going to be ridiculous. Like, this guy is fairly hefty as it is. This guy easily weighs twice as much as the Zeta Toys one, and all of the Vans Toys ones have been like that so far, which means the combined figure is going to be a freaking ton and a standing hazard. Like, just standing on your shelf is going to be risky for him, and I wouldn't trust it, not at all. So, something to keep in mind. That you may just want to display these in their robot modes or vehicle modes, and display your Zeta Toys one in the combined mode, because I think that they'll both look pretty great. But anyhow, that's my review, and it's over. It's finally over. Leave me a thumbs up and a comment. Go ahead and share it with your friends. Let them know that I am a true trooper. I did this even after all this time. I didn't just break it and then you know what? F it. I don't even care. No, I stuck through. I stuck through for all of you beautiful people. Thank you everybody for watching all the way to the end. And you are amazing, everybody. Stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya.